man, I was thinking I want to dive deeper into the different pros and cons of the different business funding that we offer, and one of those being the personal side, or self-funded, what people call it. One of the pros that everyone knows and is it's easier to get personal funding, right? Because you're just using yourself, your good personal credit, and your income, your W-2 income. But the con is, I think a lot of people run into, you can let me know what you think, is the fact that when we get you this money, which we can on the personal side, whether it's personal credit cards or personal loans, now your utilization is shot.
And another con is too, most people, when we do get on funding, they don't never have an executable plan. Like, I want to do this thing, I want to start this business, but they haven't thought it all the way through. Because they think, okay, I need this money to go get these vehicles for a Turo or Airbnb or whatever the case may be, but they don't look at how much money it's going to take to do that, and then where their score is going to go after they spend that money on those credit cards, how far is their score going to go down before that business starts generating.
So then, that's why we need to continue to teach and harp on, okay, yeah, if you don't have a business, then okay, fine. That doesn't mean you can't start. A lot of people feel like they can't start. They want to set up the LLC, the entity structure, which is great, or the unincorporated association, which you tapped into and are teaching on. But we know you can hit the ground running with just your personal credit, right? So I want people to understand that doesn't stop you. But if you do have time, let's set up that entity, right? Let's get them structured with the LLC or the S Corp, C Corp, and then show them how we can build out the business credit. So now when obtaining approvals or lines of credit, it's not affecting their personal credit, and they get a little bit more leverage, right? More breathing room.
Definitely. Even if you limit what you get on the personal first and reserve those inquiries and everything to attack the business side later, is a better leverage than maxing out your personal, trying to get the max you can't, even though it's the easiest. So if you weigh it out and be like, okay, for instance, you use experienced lender on the personal side because you can go and work with those inquiries. Now you got you a head start in capital. Now you can switch over to the business side with the new LLC or whatever entity is that you decide to use or function up under, and get capital under there. Now you're not taking any more. Your personal credit's still intact. And now you got a fallback, if for any reason, hopefully not, especially if we teaching you that you don't end up failing.
So, all right, so those two are awesome. So we can talk about that, and we'll continue to teach on that. I think SBA is something we directly don't do, but I think we should highlight our resources. The fact that we are COI, we do have these relationships and these different portals, and how SBA can benefit them even as a startup. But then teaching people, you tell me how you want to take this on, the structure of the business and leveraging the revenue to go into SBA. Like, what's your thoughts on the different types of SBA we should kind of like highlight and stay away from?
SBA has way more requirement when you applying for it than a traditional bank. So if you're under 2 years old, that's going to fall under what they call the micro SBAs. So that's going to be like up to like 35,000. Well, actually they raising out to up to like 50,000 now. So once you cross over that threshold, that's when the 2 years time in business, financials, and all that stuff. And that's where a lot of people mess up at, is we always afraid to file tax returns because we don't understand how tax returns work. So we so used to going to H&R Block and Jackson tax people, you jumping jack tax and whoever else you're using in that situation. And when you actually need a real tax preparer, not even a tax preparer, a CPA or a real accountant to make sure your books are straight. Because when your books are straight and you're showing that you're profitable, I don't care if you're $5,000 profitable, that's profit. So that helps you when you're trying to go get the big SBAs, especially if you're in a space where you might want a food truck or a restaurant, you need or a real location of event space and things like that, because you're going to get the best rates and terms with the SBA because you can acquire an actual building. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? And those things help you because you're not going to get a better rate and term over time on money for acquisition of a property in your business name than an SBA.
We got the personal side, self-funding, what people call it. We got SBA covered, the credit cards covered. I think we need to demystify some things when it comes to PG and non-PG. Personally guaranteed, non-personally guaranteed. And I know going into 2023 with our new acquisitions, we really want to structure and talk about how beneficial access capital is in that space. With us being able to data furnish with Experian Business, SBFE, Small Business Financial Exchange, Credit Safe, and Equifax Commercial. So, and people have been asking me, what's PG, what's non-PG? And, there are plenty of lenders that will lend strictly on that business with business credit, right? Home Depot being one, Lowe's, Floor & Decor, just to name a few. But then we got to remember to teach people the PG side. Like, you can leverage both ends. If you got a good personal credit, you got good structure, then why not bet on yourself and go ahead and PG that account, because that might double in the amount that you get, right? So, I mean, what's your angle on some of that when we talking to these people?
So, I'm a big proponent of good money, bad money, right? And most people get caught up in the word no PG. So, and from what we know in our years of experience, like true no PG is 5 years in business, you doing 6-7 figures a year in revenue, and you have employees. When you get to that level, no PG come into place, because you can go get it from traditional banks as no PG. In this market, it's a lot of these fintech companies that's done popped up, your Brex, and even Brex done turned that off now. Like Brex, even with Brex, you gotta have so much revenue now for them to even talk to you now. But your Topagos, your Divvies, and all them, those are more revenue based than it is non-PG. Even though it's non-PG, it's a lot to do with the revenue. So, and a lot of times the terms on that money is not the best interest of the person taking out the loan. It's more interest in theirs. And they know that saying no PG is a good marketing tool to get a bunch of applications to increase their book revenue, because most of them are fintech companies that's going through Series A, Series B funding and stuff like that. So if you're already not good management of money, or you can't manage money well, and you coming into this space as a business owner and you getting that wrong type of money off the rip just because it's no PG, I say that means two things. One, and it's not apply to everybody, but most times what we see is the person don't even have responsibility as it is when it comes to money management, and think that they get no PG, they can default on it and it don't hurt them or hinder them. And in some situations, that's not even true, because if you read it in those small print, and if you default, they still have the right to come after you personally, depending on how you structure it. So although I'm a proponent of no PG in its truest form, I'm not a proponent of it when it's bad.
Yeah, because anytime we can emphasize and teach and show proof of concept and receipts of not my credit but my business credit, then by all means let's do that, because that just gives you more OPM of more other people's money, which is what we're going to continue to talk about, or OPR, other people's resources. So okay, yeah, this is definitely a good conversation. All right, cool. So now that I have all this, I just told y'all everything. Definitely tap in with us. Situation Room. If you need more resources, you need more guidance, you want someone to hold your hand, like, share, comment, tap in with us on all social media platforms. If you found this valuable, then execute on it. Tap in before we tap out.